pepper and egg sandwiches and pepper and egg heroes coming up right now. So if you grew up in the New York metro, if you grew up in Long Island like I did, and you grew up in an Italian family, you probably had a pepper and egg sandwich. My grandmother would always make this for us when we went to a Yankee game or we went to the beach. It really is, it's everywhere. It's in pizzerias everywhere, and it's a great one. So you can use sandwich rolls or hero rolls for this. I'm going to use a bunch of eggs. I'm going to make 3 sandwiches, roughly. All right, so peppers. I have cubanellas too, which are called Italian frying peppers here in Long Island and probably in Brooklyn, Queens, all those areas. Cherry peppers. Love these. This is totally optional. Right now, this is pork chops with cherry peppers, which is another super common dish. They add something special to this, but they're optional. And then here's a hoagie spread and sliced ones. I use a ton of these. Also, mozzarella, same thing. You don't have to use this if you don't want to. You can just go with the pepper and egg. And I'm just showing you the 2 types of pans I'm going to use because we're going to do the onions and peppers in one and the eggs in the other. Let's chop up all these. Yep, and there's a little brown spot there, so let's remove that. And let's chop them all up. And I have a bunch of onions here. And I just chopped up probably more than I need. The same thing is going for the peppers here, but I always like to have a little bit more than I need. So for the peppers, I love green. It reminds me, it's what my grandmother always used. So I always like to just, use them out of tradition. And it's most of the time when you buy this sandwich, wherever you are in the New York metro, this is how it's going to come. So I'm banging out all those seeds. I'm going to remove any of the stems, and then sometimes there'll be the little green, kind of the green, not lightish green or white filament on the sides of the peppers. You can remove that. You can get fancy and you can cut it out with a paring knife. I'm not going to do that here. And I'm just going to chop up the peppers. So basically like 1.5 inch slice and then like a 1 or 2 inch dice. None of this has to be specific. None of it has to be precise. Everything will be fine. I promise. So we have a lot of peppers here. I'm going to put them all in a bowl and get those off to the side. Peppers and onions we have. So these cherry peppers, completely optional. I love them, went over before with, pork chop cherry peppers. And if you use these, you always want to remove the stem, but you can choose to remove the seeds too, how I'm doing right here. You don't have to do that, just make sure you remove the stems. If you leave the seeds in, you'll get a little bit more heat. They're about 4,000 or 5,000 on the Scoville, they're not very hot. Scoville unit. And mozzarella, I'm going to just grate up probably about 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup. Again, this is another optional thing. A lot of people just love pepper and egg hero, or sandwich just with pepper and eggs. So I'm going to crack 12 eggs because I'm making enough for 3 sandwiches, roughly 3 sandwiches, 3 hero sandwiches, maybe 4 rolls. And I'm putting salt in. Nothing else right now. And, you want them to be nice, nice and seasoned with salt. You could also put the salt in later. It doesn't matter. All right, so I'm going to this for the hero, I'm going to remove some of the bread. And I worked in a bunch of Italian delis when I was young, when I was a kid, and I would always get people coming in there and always tell me, take the bread out, take the bread out. So, you take the bread out here and it allows the egg and the pepper to go in better, right? It almost creates like a cavity. And it works. There's a reason why people ask for that. So I'm going to keep the heat pretty low here, probably about medium low. And I'm going to coat the bottom of the pan with a lot of olive oil, probably 1/4, 3/8 of a cup. You don't have to be exact here. This is an oily, delicious sandwich. So we'll get our onions in, get all our peppers in, and just mix them all around in this oil. We want the oil to really coat them well. And Then I'm going to put in about a half a cup of water. It doesn't matter exactly how much water you put in here. Okay, we're going to cover it. I'm going to cook this out for about 5 to 7 minutes on medium to medium high. We want to get them really soft like they are, and this speeds up the process dramatically. So I'm going to take this pan, and you can crack the lid just a bit and bring it over to the sink. So you basically hold it and you can drain it all. Or if you want, you could run it through a colander. But right now I have them drained and they're over to the side. I have my bread, I have my heroes, I have my sandwich bread, and we're getting ready to cook the eggs. So I'm going to keep the heat about medium to medium low when you're scrambling eggs. We don't want to kill these eggs, we just want to cook them just enough. So I'm giving them an extra, I'm going to beat them again, make sure they're well beaten before I put them in here now. Nice coating of olive oil too. This is like olive oil with this sandwich is, you have to use a lot of it. You want to use a lot of it. So I'm just going to take, I have a flat spoon that I'm just going to keep moving the eggs around. I don't want them to stick, so I'm just going to knock those sides off as it keeps sticking. And this whole process of cooking the eggs is going to take 3 to 7 minutes total. So after about 2 minutes, I'm going to add a bunch of pepper and onion back in. Just add them all in. Keep mixing it around. We're basically going to form scrambled eggs with peppers and onions. And you might be saying to yourself, is this really that good? I'm telling you, this is amazing. There's a reason why every pizzeria in the whole entire tri-state area has this on the menu. They wouldn't put it on the menu if people didn't like it and they didn't order it. It's a great sandwich. So we're gonna get it basically to the point where they're a little wet still. We don't want to overcook these at all, especially if you're going to do what I'm going to do next. Okay, so they're very soft. So remember, we have the hollowed out bread here, and we have our mozzarella on now. So you load it up with the mozzarella, you get all your eggs on, and then you put a little bit of foil under it, and you throw that in the oven for about a minute. It's so good. This is so good. Trust me, you're gonna love this. Every time I make this, we always say, why the heck do we not make this more often? It's like, and it's the easiest thing to make. I love it this way. I love it just like this, but my wife, she loves it with these cherry peppers. My kids love these cherry peppers. I use these a lot. These cherry peppers are in scarpiello, they're in pork chop cherry peppers, they're in a bunch of dishes. And look how good that looks. Guys, if you like this sandwich, if you like this food, subscribe to this channel. There's plenty more of this. Watch the next video, and I will see you next time.